I just built a digital clone of myself with AI that knows more than me about my business. But the craziest part is that I was able to build it in only 30 minutes with absolutely no coding skills at all. So in today's video, I'll be breaking down the exact process that I used, and I'll teach you the tools to build your own mini-me that'll save you dozens of hours of work weekly. Welcome back to the Startup Studio, everyone. If you are like most entrepreneurs, you have piles of work stacking up on your desk, and you wish that you could hire an assistant to do the work for you. The only problem is that training those people is time consuming, and let's face it, they most likely will not do the job the way that you would have liked it to be done. But what if you could train an AI assistant once with the material that you already have to be able to interact with customers the way that you would and even take actions on your behalf? Well, you'll be happy to know that I discovered a tool that does just that. That's right, over the past year and a half, the advancements in artificial intelligence, specifically assistants like ChatGPT, Bard, or Claude 2, are providing the infrastructure for third-party builders to build highly refined AI. And that's exactly what this startup based in Berlin has done. The company is called Finetuner, and it's a platform that allows you to build and train highly customized AI agents without writing a single line of code. And by the end of this video, I promise you, you'll be able to build your own. So let's jump in. So with this tool, you can build all sorts of examples. You can build sales assistants that can help you in increasing your revenue. You could have a customer support agent who's able to answer questions so that you don't have to answer them all yourself. You could even have an HR recruiter or a personal finance advisor. And these agents could be deployed in a number of different ways. You could have them be a chatbot on your website, for example, and you could even deploy them within your own software builds as well. So you could have an app that has one of these agents working for you inside of it. Now you could build these completely from scratch, or you could work off a template. So let's jump in and talk about the step-by-step. Now here's the agent that I created, and here I want to show you how to create one yourself. Now in my case, I wanted to create a support agent that could both answer questions and also direct people towards my free and paid services. So I chose to build this with a sales agent template. So you can just create here and it's going to open up. Step one, just like a human brain, AI is trained on information, usually under the form of data. The more data you're able to provide to it, the smarter it's gonna get and the better it's gonna be at its job. So step one is what I call feeding the brain. You wanna gather as much information as possible about the specific topic that you want your second brain to know the most about. And then you're going to upload that information to the brain. Now in my case, I wanted it to know as much as possible about We Are No Code, which is my company. I wanted it to know about our programs. I also wanted it to have more context and understand no code and entrepreneurship altogether. And here's how I did that without adding work to my plate. In this first tab called Data, you have documents and websites, a place where you can upload all of the information to your brain. So as you can see here, I do not have any data sets because this is a blank sheet because I want you to be able to do it in parallel with me. So what I do is I'm going to add some data. The first thing I might do is add my website. So I'm gonna call this website, continue. I'm gonna load data. So I would probably create a crawler, which is going to be able to get all of the different pages that's on my website. A crawler, put the URL. Here I will plug in my URL, wearenocode.com. Boom, I uploaded that. I also uploaded a bunch of different resources. So I went ahead and grabbed the link to the free course, uploaded that as URL. You could add all sorts of other documentations as well. So if you look at this, you could upload PDF presentations that you have about your company. You could also copy and paste text that you have. You could grab a URL or a crawler. So it really allows you to just upload a lot of the information you already have to be able to feed this brain. Now, step two, just like any human assistant, this little clone of you is gonna need for you to tell it what its role is. It's gonna need to understand the specific goal that it has, as well as specific instructions so that it can do things just like you. So the first part of this is determining the profile of your agent, right? So we need to give it a name. I gave it Christian AI, which is my mini-me. Then we want to give it a role. So in this case, customer support. As a personality, I put friendly, but you can choose from a list here. As a language, I put English. Then I put in some basic information for the company that this agent was working for. So We Are No Code in this case. And that was it for the profile. Now the next step is probably the most important. It is to configure the conversation settings. So what type of conversation. This is usually going to be a chat. Now the prospect, it could be a customer, it could be an employee, depending on what you're trying to deploy for the sales agent. The next part is the purpose of the conversation, which is essentially giving it guidelines on what its end goal is. Is it directing people towards a program like what we are doing? Is it to answer people's questions? You can get quite specific here, and the more precise you are, the better in reaching that goal with your agent. At the bottom here, you can choose the different large learning model that you want to use. So you could choose GPT-4. You could also use Claude 2. It's really up to you. By the way, if you want to learn how to launch your startup idea from scratch, but you have no technical skills, then check out the free course that we have below here that's going to break down the step-by-step to launch your startup with no code. Now for this third step, I want you to imagine having an assistant who's amazing at talking, but doesn't actually do anything. It would be pretty frustrating, right? Well, this is the point in the video where we teach this little mini me how to walk the talk, or walk the walk, or not just talk, but do things, you know? So in this next step, we want to determine the tasks and actions that we want our little buddy to do for us. So let's explore some of the things that we can get it to do. The first one is going to be in the native tools. Stage recognition is one of the ones that I like the most. It basically identifies the different stages that a customer is in based on the questions that they're asking. So if someone's coming asking about price, we know that they're further along in the buying process, and we can get our little agent to identify what stage they're in. So here you can actually determine and write out the different stages that your sales process goes through, and your agent's gonna be able to identify this information and push them along the buying journey. Now, the second thing we can get it to do is extract specific values. So if a customer is giving you their name or their email or maybe their phone number, your agent can save these and even push them to your CRM. You can do other things like product recommendations. You can also transform this into a voice, someone who speaks to a person on the other end. Also interact with data that you might have in the form of a CSV for data visualization. And this is the super exciting thing, is that you can connect your little buddy to external tools to do things for you. So you can connect him to the web so that he can browse the internet. You can connect that person to Gmail so they can send automatic emails to the person it's having an interaction with from your own email address. You can have it schedule calls with people in your team if there's the requirement for a follow-up, or this is now going to be sent to a sales agent who's going to be speaking to this prospect. Connect it to WhatsApp, connect it to your CRM, as I said, to be able to update all that information inside your CRM. And this is just the beginning of the integrations that you'll be able to do with this tool as it evolves more and more. So it's super exciting. But now, my friends, it's time to test out Christian.ai and see what he's really capable of. Now, in this test tab, you can actually have a conversation to see how it's doing based on the way that we trained it. And then we can go back and forth and adapt some of the training instructions based on the results that we're seeing. What is no code? No code is a method of building digital products like apps and websites without needing to write code. It's a great way for non-technical entrepreneurs to launch their startup. What's your goal in learning about no code? So then I might say, well, I'm trying to launch a startup with no code. I see, that's exactly what our no code startup program is designed for. It's a startup accelerator that includes weekly coaching, video support, and teaches you how to build your MVP without coding. So as you can see, it's doing the job exactly the way that I would actually explain this to them, and then directing people towards the actual products that we're looking to do. Now, again, you'll probably not nail it the first time. You probably want to come in here, adapt the settings a little bit, and then test your agent. And once we've done that, we're going to want to launch it. For me, I want a widget on my homepage, wearenocode.com, that's going to be able to communicate with people who come and visit and might be interested in some of our programs. You can go to deploy over here and you can choose whether or not you want it to be a widget, which would be kind of like a chatbot inside a website. You can choose it to be an iframe, so you could have it inside of pretty much anything on your website. You could also choose to connect it to Zapier and send it to any third party where you want it to interact. Or you could use the REST API to bring it inside your app. I want it to be a widget, sort of like a chatbot. I'm gonna be asked to customize the appearance of this widget. So I'm gonna call the agent Christian.ai. I'm going to have a default message that's gonna pop up as soon as it is launched. And I can also choose the background color, different colors to match my brand. Once I'm done with that, I can just grab this code right here, copy it. So here we're gonna go inside the header code of our website, and then we come in here and we drop the code inside the header. So I can just drop this code here. Excellent. I can go ahead and publish to selected domains. And just like that, I have my personalized chatbot in the right-hand side Boom, I can open it up, I can interact with it. And that, my friends, is how you can clone your brain with AI in 30 minutes or less. And if you're impressed with what's possible without writing a single line of code, then I highly recommend that you check out how these 3 individuals generated more than $1 million as non-technical entrepreneurs. So click on it and start your pathway towards glory. Let's go.